It's the Andy Thompson Show on ESPN 97.7.
Here we go. Up to the races. He bucked a tackle from the 45-50.
To the 5, to the 2, diving, and into the end zone. What a call.
Rushing touchdown on the year. Make it 2.
This is Region 9 Game Day, powered by Bucks Ace Hardware.
Touchdown. Touchdown, Desert Hills.
Desert Hills Thunder.
Welcome back, Region 9 Media Day, presented by Ideal Home and Auto Paint, as well as Bucks Ace Hardware, Fabulous Freddy's. Thanks to all of our sponsors helping us bring you the coverage today and all season long. We're just a couple weeks away, folks, from Game 1, August 16th, Friday Night Lights here in Southern Utah. We welcome in the Desert Hills Thunder, Coach Tanner Baldery. How's it going, Coach?
Doing great. How are you doing?
We got 5 or 6 big. That's what everybody says about this Desert Hills team. You got some big dudes on this team, right, Coach?
We try. We spend a lot of time in the weight room to get it.
I mean, I'm looking at Foy Latolo here. He's like 6'7" or something like that. We'll get to all these guys. But, Coach, tell me about your summer. You're the tight ends coach, strength and conditioning. You have like 5 different roles on this team. Tell me about your summer as a coach and kind of helping this team get ready for the season.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of what I do is more behind the scenes, and I appreciate that and prefer it that way in some ways. Just helping the kids. Everyone keeps asking me, when are you guys starting your season? And my response is always, well, we started back in January. Started lifting. Then we transitioned to spring and the practices and getting down our plays and making sure our chemistry is perfect. And then it's just carried on through the summer with pads.
And have you guys been in full pads? I guess this is the first day you're going to be in full pads for a lot of the teams, or what's the hitting been like, I guess, so far this summer? Yeah,
we were able to do, leading up to our going up to the Southern Utah camp, we were able to heat acclimate and hit and bang around with pads in there. And that was at the end of June. And then just last week, we did our heat acclimation again, putting on the helmets and shoulder pads, getting into full pads.
And I hear just great things about this SU camp. We were just talking with Hurricane, the camaraderie and the team building and stuff like this. Some of these off-season camps where they can sleep away is a big deal for a lot of these programs, it sounds like.
Yeah, we really enjoy it. We love going up there. Obviously, Coach Taps has a lot of connections up at SUU, so we always make it a point to go up there and be involved and get a chance to see other teams, which is why we really enjoy it. When you practice against yourselves, it's only being able to see against guys you compete with on a daily basis. You get used to seeing the same stuff. Going out there and seeing new looks against new teams and new styles is really helpful.
All right, so I'm going to go through these kids that you brought, Coach, and just maybe tell me one thing about them from your perspective. Let's start with Simon Foy Latolo, the big fella here.
Sure. Simon is a hard worker. He's the little brother of Noah who helped us win a state championship a few years ago. Fantastic young man, works very hard. He's come a long way, and it's been fun to watch him grow, literally.
How tall is he?
I think he's 6'7".
Judas Priest. All right, let's go to Topper. Tell me a little something about Topper Pattinson, Coach.
Topper is a hardworking young man, super smart. He works really hard. He does all the little things right that we ask all our kids to do. If we say, hey, this is the model kid we want you to be like, Topper is that person for us.
And then let's go to Austin Wintle, who will be playing tight end this year.
He's the strong, silent type. He is incredibly strong, incredibly hardworking, and a very talented young man. But he likes to fly under the radar, so you wouldn't know that unless you watch him play.
And it's a new era for tight ends, because I remember when I was in high school, it was like you're basically a lineman. Nowadays, you're dating Taylor Swift, right? So it's kind of a glorious position. These days.
He's working on that one next.
And then Cy Polu, a man who needs no introduction, but introduce him anyway for us, Coach.
Absolutely. Cy, also an incredibly hard worker, one of the best freak athletes I've ever been able to coach, and it's been a pleasure coaching him. Biggest thing, I remember when he was a freshman, he was maxing out, squatting over 315, and it's gone up a lot since then.
And then I think Riker May is the one we have left, right?
Absolutely, yes. And he's a hard worker. He's a weight room warrior as well. Come a long way. He had a pretty large injury his sophomore year. And while I think that would derail a lot of people, Riker's overcome a lot of adversity to get to where he is today and is succeeding from it.
All right, let's start with Cyrus Polu. How's it going, Cyrus?
It's going good.
We've talked about you all off season, about your decision where you're going to play. You've committed to go to the U, if I'm correct on that, right? Congratulations on that. It's amazing. Doesn't seem fair that he's only a senior, Coach, because I remember him as a sophomore punting. He played every position on the field.
Absolutely.
Cyrus, tell me about your kind of excitement for this season, your senior year with this group of guys?
I'm just really excited just to play with my boys again. It's our last senior year, and so we're just trying to go hard and just make every moment of it and just leave our last game with no regrets.
And tell me about your kind of you're a jack of all trades. You're going to be playing linebacker at the next level, but tight end, linebacker, punt returner, punter. Just tell me about your you play almost every position on the field.
Yeah, so right now on defense, I'm playing safety, and they'll move me down sometimes to like linebacker. But yeah, I'm playing safety mostly, and I'm on offense too, playing a little bit of everything, like tight end, receiver. Even got me in the running back position for a little bit.
Oh, love it. That's going to be fun. Tell me about one game last year, one moment from last year that you've like had in your mind over the offseason, like I cannot wait to get back on the field to do stuff like that again.
Probably Dixie. I had 3 picks in the second quarter, and that was probably my favorite.
I remember that game. That was insane. 3 interceptions in 1 quarter. All right, that's Cyrus Polo. We'll get back to Cyrus here in a second. Let's go to Topper. What's up, Topper?
Not much.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, of course.
You're going to be playing wide receiver this year.
Yes, sir.
Talk about, I guess, your connection so far with Garrett and kind of the summer and 7-on-7s and the connection that you guys have right now.
We've been doing a lot after practice, getting on the field, throwing balls, especially right after season, we got straight on the field, got to work, and we did a little bit of 7-on-7, but not much, so yeah.
Okay, awesome. And throw the mic over to Simon for a second. If there was a Region 9 football video game, like College Football 25, what would Topper's hands rating be on the game, would you say?
I'd probably say about a 94, 95.
94, 95? Holy cow, that's like Larry Fitzgerald numbers.
I've never seen him drop a ball. So.
Incredible. Yeah, well, he's known for his great hands, that's for sure. Thanks for being here, Topper. Let's go to Simon. The big fella, we were breaking down your film the other day, just mowing people down at left tackle, power run, zone, whatever it was, getting second level. When people talk about Desert Hills, it's about how physical you guys are, and it ain't just you, it's your offensive line and obviously tight and running behind you. But tell me about just kind of the mentality you guys have as an offense where you can go and bully people sometimes.
Our OC, his favorite saying when we get down into the red zone is it's time to eat. So that just means it's time to play nasty football, time to drive people off the ball.
Riker, you've had some adversity in your football career. Yeah, broke your leg, right? When you were tell us about that and kind of coming back from that, and how happy are you to be fully healthy and ready to go, buddy?
It's awesome being back. It was pretty terrible, just long recovery, missing out on the season that we once stayed on, but just having to watch our boys go out and play. But it was a good motivator to get back onto the field and play my brothers again, and yeah.
Awesome. I guess tell us, we've been talking a lot about offense. Talk to us about the defensive mentality this year for Desert Hills and your role in kind of leading that.
Yeah, so I play middle backer, and Coach Taps is a very aggressive defense, so I'm really excited for it. It's gonna be a great season, great for sure, yeah.
And the weight room is a big deal. You got Coach Baldery here leading that effort. Looks like you're somebody who can throw a little weight. Is that right? Yeah. Coach, he can move some weight, it looks like.
Yeah, he's one of those people where he has the fortunate ability to have access to a weight room at nights, and I know for a fact he takes advantage of it almost every day. He goes for an extra session every time.
Amazing. Yeah, you can tell he looks like he's been lifting every day, even in the summer when some of these other guys are at the beach. All right, let's go to Austin Wintle. Austin, we hear your name a lot, going back to last year, but then in the offseason is just one of these guys who can run the seam, physical, yards after the catch, great hands. Going to be key to Desert Hills' offensive effort, obviously, as kind of a go-to tight end this year, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You had more. Sorry.
No, sorry. I just cleared my throat.
Okay. Tell me about your connect. I asked Topper the same thing. Tell me about your connection with Garrett so far this year.
Yeah. It's definitely gotten a lot better. We did lots of good work out of practice, just going out in the field together, just me, Garrett, and some of the other guys, our core group. And so it was fun to just get a better connection with him, and we've definitely grown with the connection there.
What's your best memory from last season?
With Garrett, or just
in general, just a big game or a big game individually, or what's been in your mind?
One of my favorite games probably was Snow Canyon. That was just a big game full of energy, and we hadn't beaten them for a bit, and so that was a fun win and just fun to be with the guys for that win.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much for bringing the guys. Really excited about Desert Hills, the talent and the physicality you guys have this year. I'm just looking at this crew. Everybody's like 6'4" and strong and weight room and all that stuff. Cannot wait for game 1. August 16th is right around the corner. Thank you so much for being here. Quick break. We'll be back with more Region 9 Media Day right here on ESPN 97.7 right after this.
It's a Snow Canyon Warriors pick six.
Snow Canyon Warriors.
Hey, buddy, welcome back. Thanks for being with us. Region 9 Media Day presented by Ideal Home and Auto Paint. Check out Ideal, their home store at 4096 South River Road. Don't forget their auto paint store on Tabernacle. We got the Snow Canyon Warriors in the house, who took second place last year in Region 9. Heck of a year. Coach Esplin back. How's it going, Coach? Thanks for being here.
Doing excellent. One of my favorite things, getting to support the kids. Appreciate you having them come on the program.
Absolutely. Seems like a fun group. It seems like what I know about Snow Canyon is you always seem to reload at linebacker. I think that might be the case again this year. You always reload with senior leadership. I think that seems like it. Maybe I should shut up and have you answer that question. How's the leadership aspect of the team this year, Coach?
Yeah, really, really good. Usually it takes a period of guidance before they start figuring it out. They actually opened the discussions earlier. I was trying to give them a little bit of time to collect their thoughts before we started that grind again, but they are ready to start talking about it. And then just jumping straight into, first, we need to get all seniors on board. We're all leaders, and then we've got to take care of these underclassmen.
Well, let me name off who you brought, and maybe you could just tell us a little something, remark on each kid. Let's start with Joseph Max Smith, who's going to be the quarterback this year, right, Coach?
Yes, yeah. Joseph Smith, Joe Max Smith. I think he's good with either one. First chance at really starting at the varsity level. Very, very smart, good decision maker, great leadership, can throw the ball, has good arm strength, can read a defense. We're always working on reading and going right now, but can run the ball plenty. So we're looking forward to getting a game 1 so we can see where we're at.
And then let's talk about Hank West for a second.
Okay. Hank is one of 2 returning starters. The first underclassman that I know about, and I think in Snow Canyon history, where at least when I've been in town, and it was captains I asked. I said, hey, should we just go again, you and me, or what do you want to do? And they kind of talked about some names and some leaders, and he's kind of representing the O&D line. He'll be big for us. Even as a 10th grader, physicality-wise, you usually can't at the line position. We generally don't have someone maybe the meanest and nastiest as a 10th grader. So we're excited for him, and then Andrew Castro, who was with us last time, to come back and lead that line.
Tremendous. In fact, Hank looks like he's about to go after Max right now in a one-on-one drill. He's not backing down from anybody. Let's go to Kale. Tell us a little bit about Kale. We know him because he scored a bunch of touchdowns last year, but tell us about Kale.
You know what? Kale was a lot like me as far as personality in high school. I didn't say hardly anything. Super shy. I don't know if he's shy. He doesn't say that much. But boy, you put him out on the field and it's like you look at the stats, you're like, goodness gracious, why doesn't this guy get his name talked about over and over and over? And I think it's just because he's kind of quieter and not flashy. I really respect that. Like, let's just go do everything we can to help the team win a game.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Let's talk about Ryder Entz, Coach.
So Ryder Entz plays my position in high school and in college, corner right now, DB.
Those are big shoes to fill at SCHS, by the way, back in '96.
You know what? We've had some good ones, but if you look at it, he could play linebacker, how strong he is, and that's something defensively especially, but offensively as well. some of those positions that sometimes you have smaller guys that you're worried about getting beat up.
Yeah.
Ryder, someone who's a track guy, a speedster, someone who's been a part of state championships in track, but also is strong in the weight room and really physical.
And then I think we've got Karsten left, Karsten Stewart.
Yeah, so Stewie is generally the way that he's referred to. Obviously, he's tall, and that really helps. We don't all the time have super tall guys on our team come through. I knew he was going to be a great receiver. I mean, he's got everything that you need to be great on offense. I did want to try him at safety, so I started kind of talking to Coach Nowatzki and some of those guys. I'm going to be more involved with the defense this year. And I didn't know physically why, like tackling wise, whatever, but he's had some really good ones. So I'm really excited to see him potentially in two different sides of the ball.
Karsten, give me a nominee. It doesn't have to be you. Pick up that mic. Give me a nominee for best hit so far of camp or the summer at Snow Canyon. Who's laid the wood a little bit for you guys this year that's impressed you? And you can say yourself, too, if you want.
On offense, I would have to go Max. He lowered his shoulder on one of our JV DBs. He went flying. On the defensive end.
It's hard to sell scout team sometimes when they got to try to tackle a guy like Max Reynolds.
I want
to
talk about that before we're done.
Yeah. Go ahead, Karsten.
On the defensive end, this last week, Archie's been laying the wood on some kids, and also I have been too, so it's been good.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, keep the mic there, Karsten. Tell me more about just boring question about the summer, but just about game one. It's only 2 weeks away. Did summer go by in a snap for you like it has for me?
Summer went really fast. We went to a lot of college camps, got a lot better at those, so I'm looking forward to the first game. It's going to be a good one versus Stansbury.
Awesome. Let's go back to Coach about the Max Reynolds.
So I want to talk about the scout team, actually.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Champion, I tell this to these guys. I've told this to a lot of teams, but it's hard to get it to happen. When we won championships, and then also at Highland when I won a championship, was a part of one as a coach. It really was. The scout team was the barometer. Like if you had a scout team that could push you, and you were practicing special teams, and JV special teams was pushing you, and you were actually getting better. Those were the championship years. We've got nearly 70 sophomores that are in, that are committed, and they know that they're not going to be on the news and at media day and stuff like that.
And they're engaged.
So I mean, even with Max, they're given, and that's not fun. No. That's not fun as a sophomore.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
But they're given everything that they have, and so I think it's going to help us be prepared.
I think for me, especially since I'm a little bit undersized as a lineman, a little bit shorter, a little bit lightweight, I think my speed is definitely key in my play, especially in my footwork and just everything. I feel like I can get there a lot quicker. I may be a little bit smaller, but my strength is there. I can lift the weights. I can hang with all of them. But even all the other guys too, like we're all a little undersized, but we're quick for sure. We can do it. We can still do the work.
Great question. Great answer there. Let's go to Ryder Ents. Ryder, I want you to tell me about a play last year when you got up on a pogo stick and went and almost, I think you may have gotten a piece of it against Big Brock Harris over at Pineview. Tell me about that play and your leap ability, man.
It felt good, Like, I'm not a super tall corner or anything, so Coach adds, I have a lot of strength, I like to play physical, and being able to jump and get up that is a big confidence booster, like I said, felt really good.
Yeah, he don't look like your average corner, Coach, with the biceps he's throwing at us right now. It's a gun show right now for Ryder. He's like Tyron Matthew back in the day at LSU who could level people. That's like you said, that's the type of corner or defensive back you like to coach, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like them all to be physical. You don't want one or two guys back there that you're nervous. Shoot, if they're one-on-one, is he going to be able to make a tackle? If he's one-on-one against a running back, I think he wins most of those battles.
Let's go to Kale, who was a lot of fun last year to watch in the red zone, down the field, doing a bunch of stuff. I know he's really looking forward. In fact, he might have a future abroad. You might be a future intern for us here on the show, Kale. I'm going to ask you about one of your teammates before I ask you about yourself. So if there was a Region 9 football video game like College Football 25, which I've been playing for the last 2 weeks, neglecting my children, What would you say Ryder's tackle rating should be if he was on that game?
Ryder's tackle rating, I'll give it like an 80.
An 80? Oh, no. That's fighting words.
Trying to get excited for practice?
We need these two on an Oklahoma drill tonight, right, Coach? Goodness gracious. All right, Kale. You were awesome last year. Like I was talking and reminiscing with Coach, a bunch of touchdowns. I knew if the ball was in the red zone and Tank was going to the air, throwing to Kale was always a pretty good idea. Tell me about your connection with your new QB, Joseph Smith, here this year, and your excitement from practicing with him a lot.
Ooh, I'm excited. Me and Joe have been throwing a lot in the summer and just getting to know each other more. But yeah, the more we throw, the more we connect. So,
do you have? This might be a dumb question because some guys don't want to answer it honestly, and I don't blame you if you don't. But do you have like specific goals this year for yourself at your position, stat goals or whatever? And if so, do you mind sharing maybe what those are?
Oh, yeah. For me, probably this year, I'm going to go at least like 600, 700 receiving yards, 9 touchdowns, and yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good goals right there. And do you have anything from last year, either positive or negative, that has kept you kind of motivated? Because football is hard. Going to practice is hard. The weight room is hard. Getting up early is hard sometimes. What has kept you motivated this off season, maybe reflecting back on last year?
Ooh, the love for the game, honestly. Yeah. I love football. It's just been my favorite sport my whole entire life. So just putting the work for it just like makes me happy, and I like it. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you passed your interview. This was a whole ruse to interview you to be on our radio in the future, and you passed, man. We look forward to getting you on. Let's go to Joseph Max Smith, the QB here, who I was impressed with on the hardwood too, Coach. His agility, defense, all that stuff. Yeah. And now he's going to be the quarterback. Talk about this system. Talk about what you're excited most about with Coach Esplin, Coach Nowatzki, and your receiving core this year, man. And not just the receiving core, but the guy you get to hand it off to, who can barrel through people.
So this Snow Canyon system here, the Snow Canyon High School football program, what's great about it is that the coaches are all just as passionate about football as the players are. Coach Nowatzki, our offensive coordinator, you can go to him with a question and he's going to give you the answer.
Yeah.
And he's going to coach you up and tell you how to do it. And he's always open to suggestions. And I don't play defense, but I know that when I did, Coach Esplin, all of our individual position coaches, they're all so ready to coach you up. So I love that about Snow Canyon football.
That's true. I love going to Snow Canyon practices because it is energy filled. Not just the players, but the coaches. I mean, it's always competitive. There's guys getting fired up after almost every drill, team drills. It's always a blast to be at SCHS because of the energy level. And maybe talk about that, Coach. Practice is fun. Practice is exciting. All the coaches are so engaged with the kids and stuff. Seems like a fun place to play football.
And I think, with padded football, and hopefully it long lives, I think football is a little bit under attack sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think the things that it teaches, sometimes this world forgets these young men need to learn how to go to battle with each other and how to back each other up and how to communicate and how to get their responsibilities handled. But I think that's the funnest part about football is you can get to a level that in most places are discouraged or illegal. And you can do it with your neighborhood friends and the guys who have moved in recently. And you can have a lot of fun doing it. And we've been having a lot of fun. It doesn't have to be, angry, violent. It can be really fun to do it within the rules and do it that way.
Here's a question, Coach, that you might have to answer diplomatically. But I'm wondering if kids these days' football intelligence is higher or the same as it was in the late 90s, early 2000s. From my vantage point, it seems like it's got to be higher because when I was in high school, everybody just ran the full house and you handed it off 50 times a game. And the football that's being played now is so much more advanced. But what's your take on that?
I would agree with that. I actually would say they're stronger, they're faster, aside from being smarter. There's so much more data like huddle.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have I mean, if you are willing to study these days, it's amazing how smart you can get with the game. But there was nuances like triple option. There's not a lot when you look at that on a piece of paper like used to be at Highland.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of nuances that had to be repped. But I definitely would say they're smarter than they used to be. So when we've gone out and we've had a couple teams that I felt athletically, and we have athletes every year, speed. Our backers can get sideline to sideline. Our D linemen can get sideline to sideline. The part that we have to work on is if we're outweighed in the box. So my focus now, defensively, offensively, defensively, we have to stop the run. We believe that we can do everything else and we can stop the run. And then on offense, we've got to be able to run the ball and then give up. And with Max Reynolds and our offensive line, I think we certainly have the capability, but we need to do a really good job in the box. That's the main focus football-wise.
Is there I think about like a matchup. I know there's a lot of new coaches in Region 9, Coach, but a coaching matchup between like you and Coach Monkers. Is it hard to either be surprised or surprise them for a coach that you've game planned? I don't know how many times you guys have played against each other, and I'm trying to think, Coach Monkers, you, just the tenured coaches. Take us into a matchup like that with a coach you've played against a ton, and just game planning against somebody you're so familiar with, I guess.
So the frustrating part, and we always hope that the other coaching staff's thinking the same thing. The tough part was someone like you mentioned, Coach Monkers, and then where he puts his coaches on his team in his system. Is as soon as you figure out, like I remember when fly sweep was new. And like Hobbs was there, and I mean,
I remember that.
How they have a quarterback that can run, they got a fly sweep guy, and they can throw. I mean, how do we take what two things do we take away, because we can't take away three? And as soon as we figure it out, there's a different concept that comes, and then they trick you back with the old fly sweep that we thought we moved past. So it's just a constant game of trying to figure out what's new without forgetting what they know how to do in the bag.
Love it. Love the coaching chess matches that happen every week in Region 9. And we'll have all these games for you right here on your local sports leader. Coach Esplin, everybody, Snow Canyon Warriors, all your guys, thank you so much, Coach. Look forward to Game 1. Stansbury. That's always a tough one. Yeah. That's going to be a big one, and we'll be there. So thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Good luck this year. You guys all look great. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Region 9 Media Day right after this.
Cut of the corner, touchdown, Flyers. Dixie Flyers.
Let's go. Welcome back. Region 9 Football Media Day presented by Bucks Ace Hardware. 3 Southern Utah locations helping us bring you the action all season long. We got Coach Blaine Monkers and the Dixie Flyers in the house. How's it going, Coach? Thanks for being with us.
Doing good.
We've got, we got Wyatt Truman, we got Nash Owens, and we got Tano Anzalone. Let's do it. All right, well, let's start with you, Coach. Always one of the games everybody has circled down here in Southern Utah for a long, long time is Game 1 that you guys always play against Springville, and that's home this year, right?
Yeah, we got them at home finally. It seems like we've been on the road forever with them, but yeah, they're coming down this year.
And they've been really good.
Yeah, they've been really good. I mean, they lost 3 or 4 guys. I know 3 guys went to BYU last year, so they played both sides of the ball, so I count that as 6. So hopefully they don't have guys as good as them to replace them with, but we'll see. We'll be up to the challenge and be ready to go.
What's the first thing you look at when you got an opponent, either it doesn't matter if it's a region opponent or a new opponent, what's just the first thing that, boom, you see something on film and you say, oh, this is a big team or this looks like a physical team? Or when you diagnose film, I guess, Coach, what's the first thing that pops out at you?
Just whatever stands out. I mean, sometimes it might have a receiver that pops out on the screen or a running back or a big lineman or, they have a great running game. I mean, when you watch Springville tape, you know what they're going to do.
It's like watching Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, they run 2, 3, 4 formations and get an eye backs or just that power back set. And then, they haven't changed for 17 years that we've played them, and I'm sure they're not going to change this year.
Can't wait for that game. Let's talk about the summer overall, the 7-on-7 stuff, Coach. I know you guys are always super competitive and invest a lot in developing that part of your game in the off season.
Yeah, June's a really busy month in football for high school. I mean, you got 7-on-7 every weekend, and you have a week-long camp. So, we went up to Weber State and BYU 7-on-7, also over to Utah Tech, and we had some good tournaments and had some good moments and had some things we need to improve on. So, we just want to learn the plays, get the formations down. We have new kids that want to see what it's like playing in varsity competition and get a look at a lot of kids so that when we get into the fall and into camp, we're ready to go and pretty set with who we're going to go with.
Are kids smarter nowadays than they were in the 90s or early 2000s, or are they the same? Like, it seems like kids have to do a lot more as football players these days.
Yeah, they have to be a lot smarter football-wise. I mean, before it was all this, everybody ran the same offense. It was all, one play, run right, run left, sweep right, sweep left, punt the ball or whatever. As long as I've been doing it, the game's evolved quite a bit, and don't see any wishbone anymore, and rarely do you see the wing tee, and it's a lot more complicated than it used to be, and kids have to invest a lot more time and a lot more effort understanding the game.
Let's go through. I'll list off the player, Coach, and maybe you can just tell us a little bit about them. Let's start with your quarterback, Wyatt Truman.
I'm excited to have him back for his senior year. I mean, that junior year is always rough, and you got to take your lumps that year or whatever. It could be a sophomore, your first year, whatever you're starting varsity, you got to take your lumps. And he did that last year, and he got up and kept coming back. So he knows the offense really well, and I'm excited to see him go out and play on Friday this year.
And let's do Tano.
Tano played a lot for us last year as a sophomore, and he's probably going to be a two-way player for us this year. It's looking like right now as a junior, and he'll get some slot receiver and playing some either corner or safety on defense, and probably a little special teams too. So he's a special player and did a great job last year on the JV as a sophomore, and we're looking forward to him to become a varsity player.
And then we got Nash Owens over here.
Yeah, Nash is back. He's our center. He played on the offensive line last year, moved from guard to center, and he's really smart, gets us in our right protections, and calls all the plays at the line of scrimmage and gets us where we're supposed to be, and really smart offensive lineman.
All right, let's go to Wyatt. Wyatt, put that mic right up by your mouth there, and tell us about playing for Coach Monkers. I mean, you think about the line of quarterbacks that have come through his system, it's got to be kind of a dream for a quarterback to be able to play for this team, right?
Yeah, like Bronson Barbin, I look up to him a lot. He was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
And, I love Coach Monkers' offense. A lot of great plays. I don't know if I'd like playing for another coach.
Yeah. And last year, like he said, had to deal with some adversity before you got the starting job. Talk about the importance of kind of persevering, and then when you got the job, you didn't let it go again.
Yeah, I had to work for my spot really hard. And, once I got this spot, I love leading the team, leading the offense. It's great. I love it.
What's it like playing with Tano over here? What does he bring to the team, and what do you like most about his game?
I love playing with Tano. Tano's been one of my best friends. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can play defense. He can do it all. I love playing with Tano.
Being the leader of the O-line and calling the pass protection, like Coach was saying, I think it's really an important role, but it's also fun. And it took me a little bit to get into it, but it's a lot of fun.
Coach, what's the secret to go? We always talk to you about quarterbacks and receivers and kind of the throw game. What's the secret to coaching offensive linemen? Because I feel like they don't get any credit ever. Nobody ever, is talking about the offensive lineman. It's kind of a different mentality they have to approach the game with than the quarterback, who's kind of the star of the team. What's the secret to kind of building an offensive line that is kind of the engine that gets the team to run?
Like, I think you got to find 5 guys that are most unselfish guys that you can come up with. Okay, this is the only game I know of where it's illegal for another player to touch the ball. So they can't even touch the ball except for the center to snap it, and that's it. So, it takes a special – that's the hardest position we have to fill every year. Everybody wants to go play somewhere else. They want to be a tight end. They want to be a D lineman before they want to be an O lineman. So it takes a special guy, an unselfish guy, a guy that's willing to sacrifice himself week in and week out for the betterment of the team. And it just takes a special personality to be able to do that. I used to tell my daughters, if you want to rule the roost, marry an offensive lineman, because they're very unselfish and they'll do what you tell them to do.
That's fantastic. Nash, I want to ask you another question. What's something about last year, a moment or an episode that was your favorite thing that happened last season?
It's probably just running for those touchdowns. It's really fun to I like to try to race him sometimes when he's running down, beating everyone else. But it's a lot of fun just seeing him.
Awesome. Tano, let's talk to you, buddy. Same question. What jumps out your favorite moment from last season, whether it was a specific moment within a game or something with your teammates? Or
I think my favorite moment was that Snow Canyon home game. Even though we lost and it was our senior night, the environment in that game was nothing else like any other game. And especially me stepping in with Ran at halftime and playing both sides a lot during that game.
Yeah.
That environment was just a lot of fun, and I actually really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, that was an awesome game. If you could go back in time and talk to yourself as a 9th grader, what would you tell that kid about football? Advice or something like that?
I would tell him to just keep on working. I would tell him you have the right mindset and don't be shy to play up and play out of your comfort zone in different positions and try to play different ways, try to do different things to adjust your game.
That's fantastic. That must be a coach. When you go to a kid and say, hey, look, you've been playing this. As a team, we need you to play something else. And how they respond shows a lot about the kid's character.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we talk every year about being unselfish and do what's best for the team. And, we get kids to respond that want to move to other positions. And, I don't force anybody to do it. If they're happy to move, we let them go. And, we just let them know, hey, you're probably not going to play here, but you move over to the old line or move to this spot or move to that spot. You're going to compete for a starting job. So we preach a lot about unselfishness, and obviously if you're going to play old line, you got to be unselfish.
Tano, give me a nominee for best hit so far in camp. Like, it can be yourself. If you want to pat yourself on the back, it can be somebody else. Who's laid the wood a little bit?
Carter Jernigan had a killer hit. What team was it against? I think it was against Weber. They ran like a tunnel screen up the middle, and he just absolutely killed this little kid.
Oh, wow.
I felt pretty bad. And then Rand had a good hit against Harriman during camp as well. But those were like the only two like really good cracks we had all camp. They were kind of judgy with how physical we got.
Sure. Yeah, they can be with that stuff. Let's go back to Wyatt. Wyatt, tell me about this tough. I know you take it one game at a time and all that crap, and it's media day, so we got it. It takes things one game at a time. But about your tough, first of all, Region 9's tough, but then your tough, outer region schedule as well, and the challenge. Coach Monikers always schedules tough. It seems like so you're ready when it comes to region play. And last year, Coach, winning record in region, but played a ton of tough teams out of region. But Wyatt, I guess you answer that question about the toughness of the schedule.
Springville and Mountain Ridge and Park City, they're all really good teams. They all have heavy running game. They've always had good running backs. It's fun to have a better competition than our region games. I feel like they're a little bit better than our region. But yeah, I like a good competition.
Yeah, get you ready.
Yeah, it gets us really ready for.
I was asking Coach Esplin. I'll ask you the same question, Coach. Some of these matchups against coaches that you've played a while. I know Coach Hosner's gone, some of these guys that were long-term Region 9 guys, but it's probably hard to surprise some of these teams, because you've played them, 10 times or whatever. Is that a fun challenge week to week in Region 9? And I know there's a lot of new coaches now, but I guess take us into game planning against a smart guy who you've played a million times before.
Yeah, it's you don't really see anything new nowadays. They're going to put in a wrinkle here or there, maybe do the same thing out of a new formation. But with as much film as you have on everybody nowadays, it's just hard to come out and surprise somebody with something new. Once in a while you can come up with something that might be a wrinkle that'll work, get you a touchdown here or there. But
there's no magic plays.
Yeah, there's no magic plays. You got to go out every night, and you still got to block, you still got to tackle, still got to come prepared, ready to play, still got to know what you're doing. Still got to have that mental mindset to go out and compete every week.
Who's a program in 4A that you respect outside of Region 9? Like maybe a team up north or something that you look at and, that guy runs a great program, or if we play this team from Cache Valley or whatever, we're in for a dogfight or something like that.
Yeah, Ridgeline does a good job. I mean, they have a lot of good kids, but they're also well coached. We've played them a few times, so I know their coaches. Spanish Fork, Even though you don't hear a whole lot about them, I know they're well coached and do a great job. Dustin Smith does a great job, and Kurt Chambers does a great job at Provo. So there's a lot of good coaches out there, and they put good staffs together, and they're prepared week in and week out.
Well, it's always a blast for us to cover the Dixie Flyers, and your home games are always so fun and great atmosphere. Oh, I would be remiss, Coach, if I didn't bring up Rick Barry's back, calling the defense.
Yes,
tell us about that.
I'm glad to have him back. I mean, Coach Odette did a great job, but
yeah,
we had an opportunity to get Rick Barry back. He went to Desert Hills for a year, and then went to SVU for a year, and now he's back. So we're happy to have him back, and I've always been blessed to have a good defensive coordinator that I can just turn that over to and know the job's going to get done. So I'm grateful to have him back.
Well, it's always fun to talk to you, Coach. We look forward to talking to you many more times throughout the season. Good luck, guys. Let's go to Max for one more. Sorry.
Yeah, Coach, I got to jump in. I just like being around the kids. I mean, one thing about football is I enjoy practice as much as I do the games. I enjoy on Sunday nights when you meet with your staff and you get a game plan, you put it together. I enjoy working with the kids all week long and trying to get them to where they'll be competitive on Friday night and teaching them this, teaching them that, showing them what we're going to do. And then Friday night going out and just letting them perform. It's still just exciting for me every week. And as long as it's still exciting every week, I'm going to keep on coaching. But I enjoy the kids. I enjoy the strategizing, and I enjoy the summers. I enjoy being around the kids, and it's fun.
Awesome. Great question. Thanks a lot, Coach. Thanks, guys. We'll see you out on Friday nights right here on ESPN 97.7. And we're going to take a break. We'll be back. We got a couple more teams left on Region 9 Media Day. Thanks for being with us, everybody.
Touchdown! Comes back to the middle, diving across the goal line. Touchdown, Pineview.
Pineview Panthers.
Hey, buddy, welcome back. Thanks for being with us. Region 9 Game Day built by Bucks Ace Hardware. Max Christensen in the house. And we've got the Pineview Panthers, Coach Boyer, and we got 5 good-looking Pineview Panthers here ready to tell us all about their offseason and excitement for the upcoming season. How's it going, Coach Boyer?
It's going good. We're happy to be here today.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm excited for this season for Pineview. I know you guys are as well, like we always do, Coach. Tell me a little bit about the summer, and then I'll go through and have you say something about each of the kids you brought.
Yeah, we had a good summer. We kind of started off June really strong and kind of just went at it. We had 3 weeks of straight 7-on-7s and getting into it, padded up a little bit and early on with the spring, and just had a good overall summer, competed in all our 7-on-7s, and just kids were grinding in the weight room all summer long. So I'm excited to see their work pay off next week.
All right, let's go through these guys and maybe just tell me a couple things about what they're like as a football player and a teammate. Let's start with Boston Wilden.
So Boston will be our center this year, and Boston pretty much should have been a 3-way starter, had a little injury his sophomore year, but he's been playing, and he's a great leader, commands the O-line, knows the blocking schemes, and it's hard to try to blitz against him because he calls it out really quick. So makes my life a little bit harder, but also happy at the same time.
And then Carson Curtis will be playing outside linebacker DN this year.
Yeah. So Carson, same thing, started last year for us, and the kid's got a motor, and all he does is work, and he's also probably one of the funnest kids you'll see and be around. He sent a little video in the group chat last night for the captains and me, and just a video of him dancing at Ridgeline a couple of years ago, like a little goofball.
Let's do Kaysen Himmelwright, who's a safety.
So Kaysen's safety, probably one of the smartest kids you'll meet. Makes my life real easy because at some points during 7-on-7, he'd look at me and he'd just call the defense up, and he already knew what I wanted, and we were good to rock and roll.
Levi Shaw.
And then Levi got quarterback here this year, and Levi's one of the smartest kids I've been around as a high school quarterback. He knows coverages. He'll sit there and talk with me about defenses, so he learns both sides of it, so it makes him a better quarterback and a well-rounded football player.
And then this next guy, it's rare that somebody's in this studio that's more intimidating to me than Max, and I'm more afraid of, but we got Big Brock Harris over there, Coach.
Yeah, and Brock, he obviously had a busy summer, but Brock, I'll tell you, Brock works his tail off, and he's one of the greatest teammates. He's super hard on himself, but he picks everybody up around him, and he wants the whole team to succeed, and it makes, for a person like him, it is so awesome to see that he cares so much about the team and the team aspect of football. He wants to be successful as a team here.
It's so. I was talking over the summer about Brock, and I was talking with Tom Lemming, who's like a national kind of recruiter guy, and he was just saying it's so rare for a kid like Brock, who's everybody in the country wants to stay at. He's not transferring to a big name prep school or something like that, and I think that shows a lot about this kid's character, right? Pretty impressive. All right, let's get talking to some of these kids. Let's start with Boston. The big fella. There's a mic right there. Go ahead and grab that hand mic, Boston. Tell me about some adversity that you faced in your career. Coach kind of alluded to it, but tell me about what you've overcome and how excited you are to be a full go this season in a leadership position for the Panthers.
2 days into fall camp my sophomore year, our starting center went down, and I was the guy to play. And then practice through, and then a day after that I broke my wrist, so that put me out. Kind of got knocked out of the starting lineup. That put me out for about 3 games, I think. Played some JV and then just kind of came back, but I felt like it kind of delayed, my progress. I feel like starting would have been nice. But, I came back that offseason, grinded, and started my junior year. And just waiting.
What's a game last year that you look at as like wow, that was so fun, such an awesome game. I can't wait to get back on the field and do that again this year.
Let's see. For me as an old lineman, I would say Hurricane was really fun because we were just running the ball all over. I think Mohei Tonga had 4 rushing touchdowns. It was a good running game. I really liked that game. It was a region win. But, yeah, that was probably my favorite game last year.
I was talking thanks, Boston. I agree. And, yeah, I remember that game. I was talking with I may have been Coach Monkers just now about offensive lineman coach. Like we always talk about coaching. You got to coach up the quarterback and you got the star players. But the importance of coaching to these offensive linemen who are the most important, unit for most teams, that's the engine that makes the whole thing go. I guess talk about that with this group and your approach to coaching linemen.
Yeah, this group of old linemen, they're a very close, tight-knit group, and this team will go as far as they are, and they are a very cohesive unit. They communicate very well, and it'll make it a lot easier for Levi and our running backs and everything to function when there's no pressure and they're getting movement on the line of scrimmage. So I'm a trench guy. I played O-line, D-line in high school, and O-line's always close to my heart.
Go to Max here.
I think it is. I think it's working as a unit. I felt like we played together last year, but I felt like we fell apart at times at the end of the Dixie game. I felt like we didn't play as one. I want to see us play as a unit on offense and defense throughout whole games and finish them out.
Levi, I'm curious. I've asked this question a couple times, different guys. If you could go back in time and talk to yourself as a ninth grader, what advice would you give that kid about football?
Just keep learning, keep growing. You'll get a shot at varsity. Just wait your time and just keep developing on the path that you were on.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Levi. Let's go to Kaysen. What's up, Kaysen?
Hey.
Give me your nominee for the best. I know the year is young and being in pads is young, but give me your nominee for the best hit so far this year at a Pineview practice, whether it's in a drill or just doing team or anybody's laid the wood on somebody so far. Brock's looking at you like, hey, I laid out that linebacker a couple days ago. Who do you want to shout out here? And it can be yourself too.
Let's see. I guess there was a hit by Carson. that was just a good hit by him. I don't know.
All right, pretty good hit.
I don't know. It's
been a minute. All right, I'm sure there's a lot of good hits every day. We'll talk to Carson about that one. Same question that I talked with Boston about. Tell me about your football journey, getting to this point where, like Coach said, he can look at you as a safety, and you were a leader out there, kind of managing that defense. Tell me about your journey from where you started as a youngster to being at that point as a leader for the Panthers.
Well, I started 8th grade, so kind of late, and then I played offense sent into sophomore year. I started sophomore year, and then I didn't start after the first game. But then after that, I switched to defense, and I finally found the home to be a place where I needed to play at, and I felt like I was in the right place last year to start. So. And
it sounds like 7-on-7 this year was in the off season was fun for you guys, kind of patrolling the secondary.
Yeah, it was just fun and easy to just go as fast as you can and do the right things.
All right, let's go to Max. He's got another question here.
All right, so I still have a lot of time until I have to make that decision, but like I tried to do all my visits and camps and stuff like at the beginning of summer when we weren't so busy. But like the most I'll do like in season is maybe go to a game like when we have a bye week or like catch a flight the same night after a game or something. But yeah, I've been pretty good of just like keeping it like the main thing, and just yeah.
What was your favorite game last year, Brock? Either a team game or just your individual game. I remember you plucking one like boom like that in the back of the end zone. But
yeah,
what's one of those?
I really wish we would have beat Dixie, but that was such a fun game.
Yeah.
I think I played really well in that. And then Canyon View, I think I had 2 touchdowns and went against some really good guys on their defense. So that was really fun, challenging game. It was good.
Awesome. Let's go to Carson. Outside linebacker, defensive end. Give me a goal or something for this season for you individually or team goals if you want to make it kind of vague. What's something that you're focusing on this year performance-wise?
Last year I led the team in tackles, and I kind of want to go back-to-back and do that again. But for a team goal, I definitely say more communication on the defense. Like last year, like everyone was great players, but I feel like there wasn't as much communication as there already has been this year, like going into the season.
Love that. Love that answer. Okay, here's a question. If there were a video game that was Region 9 football, what rating would you give Boston as like coming second level and laying the wood on a linebacker? Like what would he be in the 90s, 80s? What would you say? What's his agility like getting out second level? Put that mic up by your face so I can hear you.
Like, up in the 80s, probably like 87, 89.
Oh, high 80s? Yeah, all right, that's not insulting.
Boston, I don't like when Boston comes towards me.
Okay, well, that answers the
hard to get
question.
around, so.
All right, very good. All right, let's go back to Coach. We got Manti.
Yep. On
the road. We got Canyon View. We got Tooele. I'm not going to ask you about any of these games except for game 1 because I've learned my lesson talking to coaches, right? Talk about the Templars going up on the road in just a couple weeks away.
I mean, obviously they were a good team last year, and they got some guys back. They got their quarterback back, and they got some stud DNs back. So it'll be exciting and be a tough test to go up there week 1 and have a good battle with the tough top team 3 from 3A.
Cannot wait for that. And then back at home against Canyon View, and then finish off at Tooele. Their first game in region is at Desert Hills. One more. Let's go to Max.
Yeah, one more.
I mean, just all the offensive coordinators that I've coached against and been in this region, being a part of this region for a long time. So, I mean, it's fun to go against Coach Stokes at Crimson and Coach Monkers. So there's probably Dixie's up there, Crimson's up there. So those are probably the top 2 funnest ones to kind of scheme against because they're going to give you lots of different looks, lots of formations. And they got some studs that you got to make sure you take care of or you're going to be in trouble.
Coach Boyer and the Pine View Panthers. Thank you so much, Coach. Always great to talk to you. And looking forward to seeing you guys play on a Friday night soon here in Southern Utah. Quick break, everybody. Back right after this to close out Region 9 Media Day. Thanks for being with us.
Hardware.
Touchdown!
Crimson Cliffs Mustangs.
Touchdown, Crimson Cliffs!
I think I remember that touchdown. I think it may have been McCord Christiansen who scored that. Welcome back. Region 9 Media Day built by Bucks Ace Hardware. We got the Crimson Cliffs Mustangs in the house. Coach Wayne Alofipo and 6 studly-looking Crimson Cliffs Mustangs. How's it going, Coach?
Hey, it's going well. Thanks for having us here.
This is the best time of the year, at least practicing, at least from my perspective, because you're finally able to get some pads on. Enough of the 7-on-7 stuff. Let's start hitting a little bit, right?
No, for sure. Yeah, this is like an early Christmas. These are my 2 favorite times. It's football starting and Christmas.
What's it been like so far? I know summer's always a big deal. Camaraderie building up at the sleepaway camp at SUU. I know that's a big deal. I guess give us a review of how that went, and I'll ask you a little bit more about Hell Week and going over these next couple weeks getting ready for game 1.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of things. Right? Honestly, we end. Last year we ended the state championship November, 20-something, but we're right back in it in December.
Yeah.
So the boys got probably I think 2 weeks off, and then we get right back after it in December. Get some core lifts in before the new year starts, and then we're full blow after that. So these boys right after it, I think we had a 2-week break, They had, Thanksgiving, 1 week after Thanksgiving, and then we were right back at it. And so it's just something that we believe in. It's something we do, that we've instilled over there. And so went through all of spring, had a phenomenal spring camp with the boys. Obviously went through 7-on-7s. We had a great time at our 7-on-7s. The boys competed well. It's no secret, right? We're replacing 19 starters on the team. Had an incredible senior class last year. I feel like we have a really good senior class this year. We lost 43 seniors last year. We got 40 seniors this year. And so, but there's a lot of seats to be filled. And so a lot of roles, that means a lot of backups as well we're missing.
Yeah.
And so, we went through camp and just we learned a lot about ourselves throughout the summer. So it's been great.
I remember a couple years ago at a media day where you were replacing your whole defense.
Yeah.
And you said, IQ is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
That team went on to be one of the best defenses in Region 9 that year, and then they went on to win the state championship next year. Sounds like kind of a similar thing this year, going into it with a bunch of new guys. I know McKay and some others are back, but a lot of guys to replace, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. McKay's actually our only returning starter on defense, and so we're replacing 10 starters on defense. Definitely a big task. I think of those 19 starters total on offense and defense, I think anywhere between 15 and 19 starters could be seniors. And so we'll see. We've got some good juniors too. And so it's a good group of class kids that we're excited about. To your point, though, 3 years ago when it was Jay Sweeten and them about to be, they were juniors. We were in the same boat. And these young men know, I told them there's two things that are two goals of camp, is number one is IQ. You can't replace the experience. The thing we were very fortunate of last year is a lot of these guys, due to some of the game's outcomes, got to play some varsity ball. Some guys got to play a whole third and fourth quarter. Yeah. And so we're hoping those reps pay off for us this year. But then there's still a lot of IQ that's missing, and that's been our number one focus is IQ. I won't share our other goal. That's just personal to us, but we've got two priorities in camp. That's priority number one for sure.
And, high school football is cyclical, Coach, as you know. But I feel like the way I know that you run your program and how, we've talked before about the buy-in and the family and the parents and everybody is just so, Red Kingdom. And it seems like that kind of will make times where you don't have a lot coming back a little bit more even, because you just have a program with this foundation that, every year Crimson's going to be Crimson regardless of they just lost Ty West or, all these guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing that we know and understand over here, it's about the people, right? Like you just named, the players, the parents, the community, those are people, right? And we understand that we got to surround ourselves with good people. The coaching staff, we've got, in my eyes, probably one of the top coaching staffs in not just the region, but I think in the state.
Yeah.
I've got an incredible coaching staff, from Andy Stokes to his whole offensive staff to my whole defensive staff. I mean, just some solid dudes that are great football players, but they're great men. Yeah. They're great mentors and role models. And so we're super excited to have them. And then, I think our parents really buy into what we expect, what the standard is. And it's been a long time coming, and we're still not there. We're still building. And it's like I challenge these young men. It's like, what is your mark that you're going to leave on this program for those that the benefit, that come after you? Yeah. And so it's continue to just raise that bar and continue to get better.
All right, let's go to Max.
Love that question. I love that question a lot for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, I love that question because I think that's completely up to these young men, and that's completely up to us as coaches. We've got to learn what it is that's unique about them. They're all different type of leaders. They're not the same type of leaders we had the last couple of years. They're different, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, but it's us understanding as coaches, okay, what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, what makes them unique, and who are we? And that's been our focus as coaches, trying to understand who we are defensively, offensively this year, who we are on the special team side of things, what can we do, what do they do better than the other guys, and what do they bring to the table, and how do we marry that and maximize that the best we can and allow them to just flourish for who they are, because really it's about them. It's about these young men and what they bring to the table. And our job as coaches is to identify it, maximize it, and let it flourish.
Have you had a eureka moment, Coach? So I know the off season, I guess I'm talking about 7-on-7s or even in practice. I think I remember asking you a question like this last year where you dial something up. It's kind of a test to see if these kids can pull it off, execute a play, and oh, wow, they did it, and I'm impressed by that. Has that happened yet with this?
Yeah,
with this
you know
group?
what? actually just the other night, I think it was Friday night, total transparency, we had been doing really well against the offense, and Andy Stokes, again, credit to him and his mind and where he goes. He put in a couple new things Friday night, and we got our butts kicked. Defense couldn't keep up. He did a lot of different things, like, we were just blown away by it. Really made us stink. And it was an aha moment for us of like, oh, wow. He was able to highlight again to answer even Max's questions. Yeah. It was highlighting some of the things that we had that we didn't have last year, and it was like, okay, we found something, right? And so now we're trying to maximize some of those opportunities. So I would say Friday night we had a big moment. We learned a lot about some kids on offense. We already think they're talented and they're good kids, but we saw some things where they honestly wiped our butts with the field. Like, we couldn't keep up defensively, and it was really fun. That's what makes these practices fun, is when you're going back and forth. And the next day we came back and we felt like we wanted to punch them in the mouth and threw some new things at them. And then we did on Saturday, and then today they did it to us this morning in our two-a-day practice. And so it's a back and forth. We're just throwing punches and counter punches, and it's been great. And now I can feel like, okay,
that's awesome.
Now we're trending, and we're projecting in the right way. So
that's
it's been
awesome.
fun.
All right, let's talk to some of these players. Let's start with Malachi, who'll be a receiver this year. Again, so impressive last year. Some of the catches he had, getting his feet in the red zone, yards after catch, blocking downfield. Malachi, tell me about your summer and your excitement for this year, breaking in a new quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, so with the quarterbacks, it's just been a battle between Ryder, Sherritt, and Gunnar Higgins. And both of them just been doing solid in the 7-on-7s, Weber State, BYU. So we've just been building chemistry with them since they're newer and just getting all the plays down with them.
Let's say you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you were a ninth grader. What would you tell that kid about football?
Just don't play scared. Just leave it all out on the field, because then you won't regret it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you ever play scared. And then give me a highlight from last year. Obviously, state champs and stuff. And that, playing at Rice Eccles must have been amazing. But give me a specific moment from last year that's been in your mind in the off seasons that's motivated you a little bit.
Or
a game or something like that.
Let's see. Just a highlight from last year?
Yeah.
Well, just like the most excited I was for a game was Desert Hills, just because of last year.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Yeah.
Just going out there and scoring first on the first play against both games, actually.
Yeah.
It was just the highlight of the year for me.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, Malachi Lofapo, everybody. Let's go to McKay Wright, who's, based on everything we've been talking about, McKay, you've got, how does math work? 11 minus 1. So you got 10 guys to kind of help along this year on the defensive side of the ball. Tell me how that's been going so far.
It's been awesome. We got some dudes that are coming back. We got Kaysen and Braden that are also coming back. They played a lot last year. And we got dudes like Max Griffiths, and we got good outside backers and good safeties that are also coming and helping, and they all got some good time last year. And so Coach Wayne's putting everyone in a good spot to succeed, and it's been a fun summer.
Before I go to Max, I want to get your take, Coach Wayne, about McKay. He seems so advanced as a high school linebacker.
Yeah.
All those play. I mean, in the biggest moments, he's making the biggest plays type.
Yeah, you know what? I think I've already gone out on social media and said this, and I think some people probably look at his coaches talk, and I've coached some incredible middle linebackers at Dixie High and at Crimson. Yeah. From the Malachi Fakahuas to Jake Staley's to the Jackson Griffiths. But McKay's definitely. I can honestly and truthfully say he's probably. He is the best middle linebacker I've ever coached in high school football down here in St. George. The kid's got a knack for the ball. He's got an incredible IQ. And the way he plays the game is unreal. And so, it's been really lucky to coach him the last couple of years. As a coach, I'm just grateful for that opportunity, and I just want to live it up as much as we can with this type of a kid in our program. And I think his type of impact doesn't just impact the current team, but I think the generations to come.
And then I forgot to get you to say something. I wanted you to say something about each kid. And then we'll go to Max. Sorry, Max. We did a film breakdown a couple weeks ago about Malachi. Let's go back to him.
Yeah.
and talking about his, being able to go vertical and all that stuff. But the play we highlighted was him blocking downfield, putting the kid on his back on the sidelines. Tell us a little bit about Malachi's game and how much he's improved from year to year to year.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to Coach Monkers actually about Malachi last week and the other media day, and he just said, dude, if you would have told me he was going to be here at this, it's just crazy to watch his growth. Malachi has committed himself to the weight room. He's committed himself to the track, and I think those two things combined has made him different. The one thing that really makes Malachi different, everyone looks at his speed, but I loved how you highlighted his blocking. I think we found about 25, 30 clips of how physical of a blocker he is. He actually thrives on it. He feeds off of it, and he looks for opportunities to just block downfield. That in itself, as much as that, it actually expresses the amount of selflessness that young man has, that he's willing to block for his running backs and everyone else, and he puts it all out there. So it's fun to see his growth in that area.
All right, let's go to Max.
Yeah, let me talk to I think this season, for sure, that, impact. I want to impact the whole D-line. I don't want to just impact the whole defense. I feel like this is definitely 100% team sport, and I want to help everyone I can and teach the younger guys, and I want to just be there for everyone. And as a defensive end, I just feel like setting the tone at the start of a game is a big deal, and especially for D-line, because D-line and O-line. You obviously got to set tone for different first down and second down, because it's all run, and it all wins in the trenches. So
let's go to Wayne and tell us a little something about Kaysen.
When this kid talks about impact, Kaysen has an incredible brother that's taught him well, and Corbin, over the years. And when you talk about impact, Kaysen's the last guy to always leave the field, because he's always helping our trainers take in the carts. He's always cleaning up the pads, always cleaning up the field, making sure there's no trash. So when you want to talk about impact, this kid is selfless, and he's always serving his team in ways that, and he's not doing it for anything other than just that's who he is, right? Then when you talk about him on the D-line, Kaysen is definitely our most hard-nosed D lineman right now. This kid will lay his body all out on the line. He's in the weight room just grinding it out. He's definitely the example you want on your D line and in your trenches. And with a kid like him on the trenches, I know we have a chance to compete.
Awesome. Talking about Kaysen Cuff there. Thanks a lot, Kaysen. Thanks for being here. Let's go to Boston Barrow. We'll be playing wide receiver this year. How's it going, Boston? Good, man. Put that mic right up by your mouth there.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Let's see. Tell me about your process of getting to the point where you are now in this program. The Crimson Cliffs, this is a program that a lot of kids would like to play for. It's hard to play varsity for this program, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about your process from where you started to where you are right now.
Like when I was freshman?
Yeah.
Well, when I was a freshman, I used to play. I didn't even play wide receiver. I used to play quarterback. And, I liked it a lot. But then, we have a really good quarterback now, Ryder. And so I switched to safety. That was really fun. But I just moving a lot. But then I found my way to wide receiver, and I actually like it a lot. And yeah.
Awesome. Tell me about the quarterbacks. I know there's a duel going on right now. You don't have to talk about them specifically, but just from your perspective, bunch of 7-on-7s, running routes and stuff like that. Tell me about playing for this offense and what you like most about the system.
This system, we do a lot with Andy. Andy put a lot in for us.
Yeah.
And helping both of our quarterbacks and wide receivers get connections better. And I feel like we went to a bunch of camps this season, and we did really good. Them two battling back and forth and making their reads. They're doing really good right now. They're having a really good battle, and yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Boston. Let's go. Let's see, Max, you got one?
This year I'm trying to lock down some of their best receivers. I'll be switching sides, following their best guys, and then we got a junior corner, so I'm trying to mentor him a little bit, teach him the ways, and yeah.
Braden, if you had to nominate one hit so far this year, I know it's a young season so far, but who's laid the wood the biggest so far in a drill or team or whatever? Does one stick out? You can say yourself too. If you come up on McCord and just thrown him for a loop.
It it's probably one of the middle backers, probably McKay or Max. They're always just.
Oh
trying to
yeah,
get
that's
in
an
there.
easy one.
Yeah,
you just default to McKay. Yeah. All right. I set that up for you. All right, thanks a lot, buddy. Let's go to McCord. McCord, I remember when you were a sophomore, you came on the Region Rush, and we put some sort of apparatus on you. Do you remember that? You had to jump.
Yeah,
and it
I
was
do.
like this kid's and the measurement was like off the charts of how explosive you were. It's amazing that he's back. Like he's going to be a senior after the year he had last year, just running all over the field, running all over Rice Eccles. So fun to watch you play. For guys like you and McKay, obviously a unique opportunity for you to really be the leaders of this team. Same question I asked him. Talk about your leadership role with these guys.
Yeah, I'm just trying to strengthen our team as a brotherhood. Obviously, that's one of our big emphases on our team is brotherhood. And I think if I can be a friend to every player and just push them at the level they need to be pushed to be better, then I'm just helping out the team, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Is there a moment last year, and this is a tricky question for you guys because every game was kind of a highlight last year, but is there one in particular moment or moments from a game that has kind of been something that you've looked back on and enjoyed over the offseason?
I think the semifinal game at Rice Eccles was probably my favorite game versus Ridgeline.
Oh, yeah.
They're a great team, and it was just fun battling with them, and me and Malachi kept running down the field together, and that was just probably my favorite game.
Awesome. Yeah, fun to watch. Let's go back to Coach Wayne here. I've asked this question to a couple coaches. One of the fun things for broadcasters to watch is when, we got Coach Alofapo taking on Coach Monkers or whatever. You know, Coach Monkers. All these coaches who've had a lot of success in Region 9. I guess take us into that when you're playing a coach that you've played a lot and that you know a lot. You know really well, you and Coach Stokes, right? The kind of chess match and the fun of trying to prepare for big challenges within Region 9.
Yeah, first off, it's nothing but respect. There's a level of respect that obviously a lot of the coaches that have come through Region 9, especially in the last 10-plus years, have kind of branched off of Coach Monker's tree.
Yeah.
Right? When you think about Coach Barry, Coach Stokes, Coach Sam Stevens, a lot of the good coaches have come from that, and it's been fun to watch. But, yeah, when you're competing against some of these coaches here in Region 9, quite frankly, I think the coaching went up in region across the board at other high schools as well with the addition of Cedars coach and Coach Hyatt and Coach Cowan at Herc.
Yeah.
And, I think it got even better in Region 9. But, yeah, the level of respect that you have for them is obviously through the roof. But at the end of the day, you want to go out there and compete like heck against them. Obviously, there's a lot of familiarity there coming from coaching with Coach Monker for about 10 years. And so you go in there and you're looking to see what are the new wrinkles that he adds and trying to counter those things. And Coach Monker's such a brilliant coach that he'll find them, and our job is just to adjust. And it's a real chess match throughout.
All right, we'll go back to Max here.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a big game on the schedule. And to your point, we are definitely focused on Morgan. But, yeah, listen, you can't deny the fact that Bingham is a real threat this year. A lot of people don't know Aiden Dunn, the quarterback that was supposed to be the incumbent quarterback for Corner Canyon before Helaman Kasunga went over there. He just transferred over to Bingham, and so now he's going to be quarterbacking Bingham. He left Corner Canyon due to that transfer from Helaman, so that's going to be a huge addition. On top of the fact that all four of Bingham's starting D-line, have multiple D1 scholarships. They're going to be really, really good. And then 3 of their 5 O-linemen have multiple D1 scholarships. And so they're really good in the trenches. And so, we're going to need every advantage we have, primarily being the heat, right? Like, we're excited for that. It's down here. We're going to try and get those big boys moving side to side, make sure that they're calling all their timeouts as fast as they can. And, we want to leverage as many advantages as we have. And so we feel like we have good athletes, and we'll try to leverage that as well. But at the end of the day, when you get to compete against that big of a program in 6A, I mean, one of the, most known programs in all of the state of Utah, for us, we're grateful for it. We consider it a blessing, and we look forward to the opportunity just to compete against those guys. And it's going to be a battle. I mean, in my eyes, they should be in the semifinals and competing for a state championship up there. In my eyes, I think the top 4 teams in that division is going to be Lehigh, Sky Ridge, Corner Canyon, and Bingham.
All right, Coach Wayne Alofapo and the Crimson Cliffs Mustangs, defending champs, get started in a couple weeks, August 16th, first game at Morgan. Coach, always a pleasure to speak to you about football, and good luck this year, guys. Thanks for making time for us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back to close out Media Day right after this on ESPN 97.7.